sir, the floor is yours.
I'm Jeremy. Just I live in Skidmore, just down the road, and I want to talk about a project. I'm over here, it's my only slide. Project I worked on with Professor Bob Jones at Skidmore, who's Professor of Economics and GIS, as well as 3 other students who have since graduated. So you might have noticed when you're driving around Saratoga that there's a lot of beautiful woodland. A lot of this is owned by Skidmore. So here's the Saratoga area. All the black outlines are woodland parcels owned by Skidmore. The main campus is right here. So in 2010, a very generous community member donated this 200-acre parcel. And we realized that these different woodland parcels really need to be mapped out and need to be surveyed. And basically, we realized how useful they could be in a variety of disciplines at Skidmore. So we put together the Skidmore Woodland Atlas, which you can find online. It's basically a collection of historic maps, trail maps, official geology maps, and just some other interesting ideas that we had. So basically, it's a preliminary collection of maps that we hope can be built on in the future by other students. So what we did for the trail maps, besides the North Woods, which is right next to the campus, none of the trails had been mapped out, so we went out with Garmin GPS units and just tracked the different trails we walked on. That ended up being pretty difficult, especially in the new land here, which has a lot of old historic carriage trails. So we had to be able to decipher some of these trails from the actual walking trails. Now, those carriage trails, though, one of the ways we could decipher those was using the historic maps, which we geo-referenced from old air photos over our current maps of Saratoga. And like I said earlier, one of the things we really got out of this is how useful this atlas could be in a variety of disciplines. So in the Northwoods and in the Newland, for example, it's great to have these areas mapped out for biological study, for environmental science, environmental studies, but the Denton area here, which is located right across the railroad tracks from Skidmore, this was one of the more interesting areas. We actually didn't find any trails, but what we did find was remnants of an estate from John Denton, who lived there in the 1880s. We found old foundation from his home. We found some pipes that were still laid in the ground. We found old gates. So we still have a lot to discover in that area. We also have the hillside area, which is behind some of the Skidmore Mission buildings. This also had some trails, and we also found a lot of remnants from an old glass factory, a bottle factory that used to be there. So there are lots of old glass bottles. So that's the main idea of the project, that we could organize using ArcMap and GPS units, so really simple tools. We could organize a good collection of maps for Skidmore, hopefully to build on in the future and use for research.